Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my kitchen. So today we'll be making a West African dish of black-eyed peas and chicken. First thing I'm going to do is rinse out my black-eyed peas. Just going to rinse it and clean them, pick out any ones that don't look too well. And I'm going to be pressure cooking my peas today. If you want, you can definitely feel free to soak your beans overnight and then boil them in the morning, but I just find pressure cooking them is a lot faster. I pressure cook them for about 15 to 20 minutes, and that's after you close the lid and the pressure starts to build up, so it'll start to make a psh sound. And then again, that's if you're doing it on the stove, because if you throw this into your Instapot, then you just set it and forget it. So after we're finished pressure cooking our beans, this is what they're going to look like. Nice and plump and fully cooked. We want to put this to the side and get ready to start our stew. So we're going to heat up about 2 to 3 tablespoons or maybe a quarter cup at most of some oil, and then we want to saute at least 1 medium-sized onion. Once they start to break down and get translucent, we're going to add in our tomatoes. I'm using 2 Roma tomatoes chopped up. And then once the tomatoes cook and start to break down about 3 to 5 minutes, then we want to start adding our seasonings. First thing I'm going to add is 1 teaspoon of thyme and 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon. We're going to stir that around and get that all mixed in together. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder. You can feel free to add black pepper if you choose. I just forgot to add it today. Next thing I'm adding are some red pepper flakes for some spice. I added about half a teaspoon, but if you like your food extra spicy, go ahead and add more, or you can chop up some habanero or scotch bonnet peppers and throw that into the pot. Next, I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 3 bay leaves, and then we're going to add some tomato paste. I use about a 6-ounce can of tomato paste in my pot. We're just going to stir all of this up and allow it to kind of cook together. I'm adding a bit of water, probably about 2 tablespoons of water, just to loosen up the tomato paste so it can cook a little bit easier. And now I'm going to add my chicken. So this is some leftover rotisserie chicken, about 1/4 of the chicken. You can feel free to add any type of meat here if you want. If you have maybe some beef that you want to cook, you can feel free to add that, or chicken thighs, anything. Now I'm going to add, if you're adding raw meat, you definitely want to make sure that your meat cooks first before you add your beans. But because my chicken is already cooked, we're just throwing it into the pot, going to stir that up, and then I added the beans on top of that. So I tasted my food and I wanted it to be a little bit spicier, so I added a little bit more cayenne pepper, which adds the heat. And I'm just going to add a little bit more water because we don't want it to be too thick. We want it to be thick, but just not too thick. And the last thing that I'm going to add is some smoked paprika. I like to add about 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon of smoked paprika because it adds a depth of flavor to the pot. Now there are different types of paprika, but I don't like the sweet one, but the smoked one. Please taste your pot. See if you need more salt, then adjust it accordingly. If you need more salt, go ahead and add that. If you want more pepper, go ahead and add that. And when you're finished, it should definitely look like this. Not too much liquid, but not too thick. You can typically eat your beans over some white rice. That's how we eat it. But tonight, I figured that we would fry some potatoes. So I just sliced my potatoes about 1/2 inch thick, and we're not making it like French fries, but just gonna fry it until they're cooked through in the middle. And yeah, that's what we're doing here. So once we're finished frying up the potatoes, this is what they look like, and then this is what our beans and chicken looks like. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for sticking around, and please come back next week.